Republican Nathaniel Moran is the new member representing the 1st Congressional District of Texas in the 118th Congress. He told C-SPAN about how seeing Ronald Reagan running for president sparked his own love of politics, and why he studied Russian in college, and how his parents ended up raising him on the campus of a Bible college in Texas.
In about 1976, my parents moved from Arizona to East Texas to help start a Bible college there in southern Smith County. I was just shy of being 2 years old at the time, but me and my 3 brothers packed up in a car with my parents and moved across half the country to help start a Bible college in East Texas.
It was your family and others. What was the idea?
Well, the idea really is to follow that great commandment in Matthew 22, that commandment of loving God and loving others, and that's really about serving God and serving others. And my parents were involved in ministry for many years, and so this was just their opportunity to help start something new in the central United States in East Texas and help build that ministry and other families going forward.
How did that mission shape the man today?
Well, for me, it really modeled that Matthew 22 great commandment. But growing up on a Bible college campus was fantastic because you got the energy of young college students. You got to be around so much activity, but you got to see others really giving to their communities, learning about Scripture, and dedicated to a life of faithful service to Jesus Christ.
What sticks with you today from that time or from your faith?
Well, for me, that opportunity as a young boy was fantastic for a number of reasons. And I still tell my kids these stories today because we got to roam the woods. We had these county roads that we went down every which way and shot our guns off the bridges and in the woods, and had a wonderful time just growing up, really being able to explore and live an independent life and figure life out on your own. Now we had a clothesline in the backyard, and where we played football, we climbed trees, we did all the things that young men and women in the country you would expect to do, and along the way, 4 broken bones and a lot of bruises.
When did you first become interested in politics?
Well, it really was in 1984 when, after we had established ourselves in the really big city of White House, Texas, just a little small town not far from that Bible college. My dad helped bring me through that pathway of watching Ronald Reagan run for his second term in office, 1984. And as we went through that journey together and we did a mock election in elementary school, I still remember that to this day. I cast my ballot for President Reagan in that 4th grade classroom. That's what began to instill a love of public service. And my dad modeled that. He was a small town mayor growing up, but really, that's just about giving back to your community. It's not about holding a position of authority. It's really about how can you serve those around you, and it started there in White House, Texas.
What do you remember your father telling you about why Ronald Reagan should be president?
Well, simply because, we're talking about liberty. We're talking about taking government out of our lives on a day-to-day basis so that we can make good decisions for ourselves, for our businesses, so we can have opportunities to work hard and have those good decisions create opportunities. That's really what it's about. Government most of the time gets in the way. And if we can get government out of the way, people are left to being able to make their own decisions and see those decisions bear fruits down the road. My dad did that when we were in White House. He started a business out of our garage. It was just him and a little vending truck and a bunch of candy and chips and cookies in our garage. He started a little vending company, got up every morning no later than 4 a.m. And by the time 30 years had passed, he and my older brother had grown that business to a large regional vending company. But it took years, in fact decades of hard work.
Tell us about your education.
I started my educational adventure at the United States Military Academy at West Point. Was there for 2 years. Loved that time there. Those 2 years were invaluable to shape who I was. The moniker of duty, honor, country really was instilled in my heart and still guides me to this day as to who I am and what I want to become long term. Ultimately, I decided to pursue a civilian career, and so I transferred to Texas Tech University, got a Russian degree, finished my Russian degree there, started that actually at West Point, and then also got an MBA and a law degree and began practicing law after I left Texas Tech in 2002. But I wouldn't give up that time either at the Military Academy or Texas Tech for anything. Both truly shaped who I am today.
Why study Russian?
Well, I think that there's a lot to be said about understanding other cultures. Understanding not just the Russian culture, but other cultures worldwide, and knowing how we need to interface with those cultures, understanding that our perspective is not the only perspective, but truly we see today, and who knew back then that area of study would be so important today, but understanding in some senses, hey, how do we push back against a foe that's really trying to be imperialistic and do some things around the world that they shouldn't be doing. Understanding their culture and their history now is vitally important.
When did you start your political career?
Well, I don't really call it a political career. I really call it a career of service. My first elected service position was on the Tyler City Council back in 2005. I remember distinctly my brother-in-law calling me and saying, "So now when are you going to run for your first office?" And I thought, you know what, now's the time to do it. And I stepped out and won that first election in 2005. Was glad to serve on the city council level, and then many years later at the county level. So I've spent both city and county elected experience, county judge the last 6 years before I was in Congress. But one of the things I love to talk about in that journey is right after my second term in office in 2009, I left being on the city council. I'd just been reelected to my third term there and was elected as mayor pro tem. But I have an older son that needed some special schooling in Houston. He's deaf, and so my family knew we needed to get down to Houston for him. And so we walked away from that and walked away from that time of service to build into him that opportunity and to give him the gift of speech. We were incredibly blessed by the Center for Hearing and Speech down in Houston to be able to do that. My son went from being 4 years old, not speaking at all, to 7 years old later, 3 years later, speaking in full sentences. It was a gift for him for the rest of his life. But we had to walk away from that vocational call of being a public servant, never thinking we'd ever be able to get back to that time. But in 2012, we moved back to Tyler, just began serving our community again through nonprofits, started an education foundation, tried to do what we could just to help where we could. Boy Scouts, Sunday school, teaching, coaching my little girls' basketball teams, just whatever we could do.
Yeah,
and then in 2016, became the county judge.
You've had lots of titles: Sunday school teacher, trombone player, coach for your daughter's basketball team, church deacon. Which one do you like the best?
Oh, I think being dad is number one, and being coach. My little girls, one of them's not so little anymore. She's almost 6 feet tall. They loved calling me coach on the basketball court instead of dad, so they loved that opportunity. And I think I loved coaching that team just about more than any. And then spending that special time in Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts with my older son. And I'm looking forward. My littlest son now is in kindergarten, and I'm looking forward next year when he gets old enough to start playing basketball, to start helping with that team and to showing him the ropes as well.
How many kids?
I've got 4 kids. My wife and I have been married 23 years. We had our first two, who are now 17 and 16. We had them, and then because of the need to really focus on my oldest son, we waited 8 years. When we got him on the right track, we said, hey, let's have some more kids. So now we have a little 7-year-old and a little 5-year-old. So we have 2 boys and 2 girls.
And what was the reaction from your kids when you won this seat and you became a member of Congress?
Well, I think back to kind of the days of campaigning. I try to involve them as much as I could. Certainly the little ones don't quite understand exactly what's going on. They love to repeat some of the campaign commercials, and they're intricately involved in every step of the way, and they love being here as part of the swearing-in process. I am hopeful that as they grow older, they will see that really what I'm trying to do is to build in an opportunity for them so that one of these days they can have the same opportunity I had, and that is to come from a single-wide trailer home on a Bible college campus with parents that didn't have anything more than a Bible college education, to being able to achieve anything you want in life by working hard, by staying steady with good values, by treating people right and giving back to your community. I think that's the formula to really get somewhere in life. And again, not for ourselves, but for others. I tell people all the time, the point of government is to help people get to prosperity. But prosperity is not the end. Prosperity should really be the middle point. The end point is generosity to others. So that liberty should lead to prosperity, should lead then to generosity to others around.